Should you paint the underside of your deck, right? Above me, we're looking at a deck that's 23 plus years of age. It has some mildew growth on the bottom side of it, right? But other than that, other than the mildew growth that you see, which I can assure you is very, very superficial, okay? With a soft wash, all of this would come off of here. And these boards, believe it or not, they're in really, really, really decent health, okay? When you have a deck that is up off the ground like this, you know, meaning it's 8 feet clearance or more, it is of my opinion that coating the underside of it, it actually has a negative effect, okay? If water gets into your boards somehow in your wood, we want it to be able to drop out, let gravity do its work and drop out the bottom side of this, okay? If you close that off, what ends up happening is the water has to escape through other routes, so gravity can't do its natural job and just let it drop out the bottom, okay? So it has to evaporate or find other areas out. Water travels. It's crazy how water can travel, but it has to find other areas out or eventually end up breaking through that barrier. For people that are super concerned about it, I suggest that Thompson's water seal. I recommend Thompson's water seal for the bottom of these. It's a very, very thin, clear water sealer that it's only going to hang around a year. After that, it's going to dissipate and be gone. But again, I don't see the point in it, okay, honestly. Now, the only time, because I've seen these 30, 40 years old that just look immaculate and really good health. They just don't get the sun damage and the weather like everything that's exposed. It's hidden up underneath here. This is actually an extreme version of the underside of a deck. Most of them are not this dirty, okay? But again, I assure you that this is all superficial. This wood, I've checked it, it's in very, very good health, okay? The only time that I recommend coating the underside of a deck is when a deck is close to ground level. And there are some decks that sit right on the ground. And it's kind of a catch-22 because in that situation, the only time that you can do it is when you build it. Because if outside of that, it's really hard and really impossible to crawl up underneath there to coat it, right? But those are the ones that I feel, if any of them do need it, are those, okay? Listen, should you clean the underside of your deck? Absolutely. You should clean the underside of your deck every couple years. Does this need coated? No. I'm going to show you the massive difference. You can see how healthy that wood is. Very healthy wood, okay? The joist, all of it is very healthy underneath here. Let me show you the difference. We'll go look at the top side of it, and you can see the difference that weather plays, okay? This is the undeniable power of the sun, okay? This wood, the top side of this wood that's exposed to the sun, and then exposed to the 1-2 punch of Mother Nature, which is temperature and moisture. So you have this temperature and moisture punch, okay, that just take a toll on this. And then the sun is sort of like this ever-present jab that is just constantly breaking down this wood. Every day it takes a toll, a little bit more every day. Tiny, tiny, tiny jabs every day. It's just constant. Okay? The undersides of decks are not exposed to this. And that's why I believe it's not something that's necessary. And also the water drainage. I believe in good water drainage. I believe if water does get into your wood, the ability for gravity to just drop it out of the bottom side is very, very vital in keeping these decks, these wood decks, healthy. Okay? Coating that takes away that process. It takes away that ability somewhat. And then that's the other thing. Eventually, gravity will start working again, and it's going to damage the underside of that coating. So it's just not something that I think is beneficial to deck owners who have elevated decks, that pier type decks that are up above the surface. Okay? You would never know that the top side of this deck was this damaged by looking at the bottom side. But it is. It's extremely, extremely sun damaged. As damaged as this is, I could save this deck. If allowed to save it, I could save this wood. It's extremely damaged. But it's at the point now to where if they acted now, I could save it. Here, probably in about a year, all of this is going to start splintering really bad. The outside layers of the woods, like this here, this is going to get much worse. It's going to start doing it everywhere on this deck. And this will start getting like a like these wavy skin looking things on it everywhere that pop up, and it will just be horrible. It'll be, at that point, it's too far gone and it's time to replace. And the crazy thing about it is it almost happens too quickly, if that makes sense. You go from this point to that point. It seems like it happens almost overnight, and then it's over. There's no chance of saving it. I'm trying to see if one of them has started doing it yet, to try to show you guys what I'm talking about. Obviously, this needs replaced. See the top rails here. Yes. Okay, here we go. You start to see how this is, the ridges are starting to expose up above the board. If you can see that wood is too far gone to be saved. It could possibly be planed, but you can just see the ridges are just too deep now. I could possibly, and then see, look, this is all sun damage. It's shattering this wood. The expansion and contraction cycles are getting so bad now to this point to where now it's just starting to shatter. It'll just start breaking off, right? This is an extreme case of unprotected wood. This old red barn paint did nothing for this, absolutely nothing. It was broken down immediately by the sun. I'd say probably a couple months, and then just shattered. If you look, it's all vertical surfaces, okay? Or I'm sorry, horizontal surfaces, all flat surfaces. Every flat surface is destroyed. All the vertical surfaces are okay.